Hey guys, Chaotic here with a double review. This time I'll be reviewing the Henshin Belt Deluxe Bearded Gavv and Gochizo Holder set, along with the Deluxe Bearded GavvGablade from Gavv. These are the transformation belt and weapon of Bearded Gavv, the evil counterpart to Gavv. Included with the Bearded Gavv are the belt itself, 2 rare Gochizo, a set of belt straps, and a Gochizo holder. And included with the Bearded GavvGablade are the sword and 1 rare Gochizo. So, let's get started. First up, we'll take a look at the included rare Gochizo on their own, starting with the SPARKIN Gummy Gochizo. So obviously this is another gummy, so we'll open up vertically. Looking at the package, first of all, we can see that it is clear black with glitter in the mold. Then we've got the front label with the logo with a pretty evil looking font. Got a mix of reds and purples and whites, and on the top you can see a little clue as to what kind of candy it's supposed to be. You can see it has more narrow and evil looking eyes compared to normal Gochizo. It even has a little chain along the bottom, as well as what looks to be bubbles back there. See the fake text, and a little symbol here which kind of makes it look like it would have a bad taste. So you can press the button on the side to open it up, and see its sort of monster form. And as you can kind of tell by the clear color used for it, this is supposed to be a cola gummy Gochizo. And once again, it looks a lot more evil with the more narrow green eyes, as well as the very sharp fangs. Then we have the Vrukan Spicy Gochizo. So, obviously this is an evil counterpart to the Vrukan Gochizo. You can see that it's a clear dark blue color. You can see a lollipop there, the logo, and the lollipop symbol down there. Then if we open it up, you can see the Gochizo in the monster form. You can see it's got Cyclops, got a little tongue sticking out, some sharp teeth, as well as chains for the bike handle it's holding. And so it can probably imply this would be a kind of spicy lollipop Gochizo. And third we have the BAKI Sick Gochizo. This is a kind of clear dull gold. You can see the front label. It has a symbol of some sharp fangs. Got the front sticker with the logo, and you can see it's kind of cracked. You can see the kind of snack it is there. There's little droopy eyes, and then we can open it up. You can see some very sinister looking eyes in there. And this is essentially a pretzel stick type Gochizo. So it's got little pretzel sticks for the hands, or I guess like breadsticks, I guess. You can see it's got those to make up the face, as well as little claw hands on the sides. Next we'll look at the main belt, which I'll be referring to as the Bearded Gavv belt. So obviously this is a recolor and retool of the Gavv belt, done up mainly in black, purple, and silver. So most of the body is the same as the Gavv belt, but you can see that on this we have different parts for the teeth, now looking like sharp fangs, and an entirely new top part, which may actually be the reason as to why these are 2 separate pieces. Which, if that's true, might be a little bit more mundane than what people thought the whole disconnecting of the top part was for, but we'll have to see if something else comes in the future that may change that. But you can see that it is a lot more evil looking. Got the sharp fangs here. Has what looks like pointed ears on the side. And interestingly, compared to the normal 2-eyed Gavv belt, this one is actually a triclops. You can see the 2 eyes on the sides and then 1 up top. And of course, you've got the lever, which gives it its biting action. The button that opens it up. And so we can switch it on and see what kind of sounds it makes on its own. Pretty sinister startup sound. And so we get are, of course, the chomping sound. And open and close it. I press a button with no Gochizo inside. A much heavier burping sound than the normal Gavv belt. Also included with it are, of course, the belt straps, which use the same molding as the ones that come with the Gavv belt, except it uses black ends as well as silver for the actual strap itself. So I believe that the Gavv belt straps were silver as well. So of course, obviously, adjusted. You have any belt, you know how that works, and then you have the clips, so that one goes on one side, and the other will go in right here, just like that. And on the back, we can see it's got a lot of nice molding details. We've got the power switch here, back part here, takes 3 AAA batteries. And the speaker is in this part, just like with the normal Gavv belt. After that, we'll bring in our Gochizo to use with the bitter Gavv belt, starting with SPARKIN GUMMY. And so there we have the transmission into counter bitter Gavv SPARKIN GUMMY form. So with that, there were some auditory differences in terms of what it says compared to the normal Gavv belt. So instead of saying eat gummy, it says bite gummy. And then at the end of the transformation phrase, it said yummy, which is obviously meaning yummy, but also a little pun on the word yami, meaning darkness. Then we also have the finishing attack. So the charging phrase is beat you. And then that gives us the SPARKIN GUMMY end. And then you have the Rukan Spicy. So that will summon the Rukan Spicy Buggy for bitter Gavv. And the finisher. Now, for that one, I don't actually know what the finishing attack is called, and that's a point I'm going to get to later on in the video. Then third, we have BAKI Stick. And that gives us the transformation into counter bitter Gavv BAKI Stick form. Then the finisher. Now, before we move on to the weapon, let's take a brief look at the Gochizo holder included. This is literally just a recolor of the one that was previously released, this time done up in just a metallic black color. So it has little robot arms. And take your Gochizo, put it inside. Or you can open it up and put it in that way. Though on mine it's a little bit tougher to put in Gochizo than on my normal Gochizo holder. Which is a little bit concerning because I don't want to break either of these items, you know. Let me try to see if I can get it lined up right. There we go. And of course you can take it and hook it onto the belt straps. Just like that. Now we can take a look at the bitter GavvGablade. So obviously this is a recolor and retool of the normal GavvGablade, this time done up in black with clear purple. You can see that the main body is basically the same, with some new parts added to it. So they changed that look of the blade to have one that's more serrated, and almost like a kind of flame coming out of it. You can still see kind of some of the spring details, as well as the ramp details there, but they add a new part to here, which gives it a kind of flame pattern, as well as adding some markings on top of here. You also have a more sinister looking pommel down at the bottom. Grip is basically the same. The big key difference here is that there is both no Gochi speeder equivalent and no Gochizo reader. Instead, it's been replaced by this mouthpiece, which acts as a little button. We got the back here with the power switch here, speaker here, back horn here, and it does include batteries out of the box. So let's switch on to get the confirmation sound. There we go. And on its own we have some attacking sounds. Or rather, a single attacking sound, unlike the different patterns of the original. So then for the finisher attack, it works in basically a couple ways. The first one is to take Gochizo and use that to press down on the button once. Get the charging sound, and then you press the trigger. Yeah, our first finisher attack. The second one is initiated by pressing and holding the button here. We get this pretty cool and sinister standby music. Now if you press the trigger normally, we get a pretty basic sounding finisher. However, we can also charge it up. So we'll use it, press it once, twice, three times, and press it again. And we get the secondary finisher attack. Now, I do want to also test if there is an intermediary there. So kinda, but it's hard to tell. And outside of that, that is basically it. And technically speaking, you don't even need to use a Gochizo. Since this is a button, you can literally just press it with your hand, and it'll make the same sounds. Now that we looked at these on their own, we can take a look at some cross-compatibility. For the Gavv belt, it is compatible with all previous Gochizo, so I'll show you some examples. We'll take a look at a transformation Gochizo like Poppin' Gummy. So we have symbol Poppin' Gummy Yummy and the finisher. So we have the Poppin' Gummy end, and you can kind of hear that for the announcement calls. It's basically the same ones from the original Gavv belt, but with a voice filter on them. Then Kickin' Gummy. So, pretty generic there. Again, I have no idea what's supposed to be saying there. And then an example looking rare Gochizo, such as Gotchard. And unfortunately, the legendary Gochizo are all kind of genericized to just say the name followed by Yummy. No Gochizo-fied transmission sounds anymore. And we still get Gotchard Theory. On the flip side, we'll take a look at the Gochizo from this video in the original Gavv belt. Starting with SPARKIN Gummy. Which it interestingly treats as an assist gummy or assist Gochizo rather than for transformation. Which gives us the SPARKIN Gummy Shock Attack. Then Rukan Spicy. And unfortunately, this reads the same as the normal Rukan Gochizo. So then we can skip to BAKI Stick. So interestingly, it just reads as Oyatsu, which I don't exactly know what it means. It might mean like another word for snack or something like that, but it does mean it's a bit more genericized, and it doesn't properly read as what's supposed to in this belt. I think the attack is Oyatsu Burst, or something like that. Then we'll test these out in the Valen Buster. Once again, starting with SPARKIN Gummy. Oh, generic attack there. And finally, we'll test out these Gochizo with the Gavv phone. You're also a Gochizo. So in this case he said, "You're also a Gochizo? I feel a strange power," which is a pretty generic one, but I guess that makes sense for one he doesn't use. Obviously that reads the same as the normal Rukan. And then BAKI Stick. And this is a Gochizo, one of my minions. So that's basically just another kind of generic one, and it's extremely generic considering that this is one that is not used by Gavv. And there we go. So overall, as far as these toys go, they are similar to the original Gavv lineup of the belt and weapon, just to some degree less functional. For the Bearded Gavv belt, it is certainly interesting that you get this more sinister vibe to it, and get these new Gochizo to use with it, as well as technically one that seems to read exclusively properly in that belt. The only problem with it, or the kind of problems with it, are twofold. One is that it does kind of genericize a lot of the other Gochizo, and so for that reason I'm not going to be using it to demonstrate more Gochizo in the future, and there won't really be a part 2 to this. And the second one is that, though I get why they used a vocal filter to make it sound more evil, I think they went a little too hard on that filter because, as you kind of hear, it makes some of the phrases it tries to say basically unintelligible, which I think kind of ruins the experience if you can't really understand what it's saying. Though it is nice that it does include the holder and Rukan equivalent instead of having values separately. And as for the Bearded GavvGablade, this is definitely one of the toys I think is a pretty easy pass. Because, while the original GavvGablade didn't do too much, it still had that interesting speeder gimmick going for it, as well as, of course, the ability to read different Gochizo. And those were completely stripped away from this, so all you're left with is a weapon that makes some, just different attack sounds, You don't even get any kind of vocal announcements, not even anything that seems like Gochizo voices, so it is definitely inferior to the original GavvGablade. And, you know, if you want to get the BAKI Stick Gochizo, I'd probably recommend just trying to see if you can get it on its own for, you know, perhaps a future Gashapon or Candy Toy release. And originally I had intended to just make this a review for the Bearded Gavv belt, but I decided to include the weapon for a couple of reasons. One is to try and make up for lost time, given the fact that it has been a little while since my last review, and there's just been different things going on as to why that has. And the second reason is because I just don't feel like the Bearded GavvGablade has enough features for me to make a substantial review out of it. It just is far too basic. So what I recommend is that if you're a fan of Bearded Gavv and you like his vibe and whatnot, I can certainly recommend picking up the belt and Gochizo holder set, but I would really not recommend the Bearded GavvGablade all that much, and, you know, it would probably be easier to just buy the BAKI Stick Gochizo on its own. Next time I'll be getting started on my review for number 1 Sentai Gochizo by reviewing the Deluxe Tega Sword Sentai Ring set. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is Carriers50, writing off.